Nkechi, please, I need to pass, Ada said quietly. Oh? You need to pass? How interesting. Nkechi didn't move. Sister, please. The water is heavy. I'm very tired. Sister? You call me sister? Nkechi stepped closer, her face ugly with spite. You're not my sister. You're just a burden my mother had to take on when she married your father. Please, just let me. Suddenly, Nkechi reached out and pushed Ada's shoulder, not hard enough to seem completely deliberate to an observer, but enough to throw off her already unstable balance. Ada stumbled. The calabash tilted. She tried to catch it, but it fell, shattering on the ground. Water splashed everywhere. Ada landed hard on her hands and knees among the broken pieces. No. No, no, no. Ada whispered, devastated. Nkechi immediately threw herself down, grabbing a shard of the broken calabash. She made a small, superficial cut on her own arm. Mother! Mother, help! She screamed. Ada attacked me! She started crying loudly, dramatically. What? No! Nkechi, you pushed me! You, Ada, scrambled up, horrified. She pushed me. She tried to hurt me with the calabash. Ngozi burst from the house, her face already set in righteous fury. What have you done?
In a faraway village, nestled between ancient forests and flowing streams, there lived a young woman named Ada. She was 20 years old, beautiful and gentle-spirited, but her life was filled with suffering. Ada had lost her mother shortly after birth, a loss that carved a permanent ache in her father's heart. Years later, her father remarried, bringing Ngozi and her daughter Nkechi into their home. When Ada's father was alive, Ngozi wore the marks of kindness, treating Ada well enough to keep peace in the household. Ada's father had been particularly protective of his daughter. She resembled her late mother so much, the same kind eyes, the same gentle smile, and he felt guilty that Ada had never known a mother's love. One day when Ngozi dared to complain about Ada not helping enough around the house, her father's anger was swift and fierce. Ngozi, what is this? He shouted, his voice stern. This child works from sunrise to sunset. She does more than her share. My daughter lost her mother. She had known no motherly love, no gentle, nurturing hand. And you dare complain? You dare burden her further? Ngozi's eyes flashed with suppressed rage, but she quickly bowed her head. Forgive me, husband, she said, forcing sweetness into her voice. I spoke in haste. Ada is like my own daughter. She even turned to Ada with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Come, Ada, let me braid your hair. When Ada's father died, and after all the burial rites according to village custom were concluded, a full year of mourning and ceremony, Ngozi's true face emerged, twisted with years of suppressed jealousy and rage. From that moment on, Ada's life became a living nightmare. Every morning, Ada woke before dawn, sometimes as early as 4 in the morning. While the village still slept in darkness, she would rise silently from her thin mat on the floor of her cramped room and begin her endless chores. By the time the first light touched the horizon, she was already making her way to the stream with a large calabash balanced on her head. The path to the stream was long and dusty, winding between sparse trees. Ada would make the journey 3, sometimes 4 times each morning, filling the water drums in the compound. Her feet were bare against the red earth, her wrapper tied tight around her waist. On her final return, other villagers would just be beginning their day. Ada, so early again, Mama Eze, one of the village women, would call out, Good morning, Mama Eze. Ada would reply with a tired smile. Mama Eze would shake her head. That woman works you like a servant in your own father's house. It's not right. But Ada would say nothing, only adjust the calabash and continue working. When she returned home, the work continued. Ada did literally 99% of the housework: cooking, cleaning, sweeping, washing. The only things she didn't do were tasks Ngozi and Nkechi had to do themselves, like bathing. But even then, Ada cleaned their rooms, washed their clothes, and served them hand and food. When it was time to eat, Ada would cook delicious meals, jollof rice, yam porridge, egusi soup. But Ngozi would be the one to dish out the portions. Ada never got a fair share. Most days she ate only the burnt bits scraped from the bottom of the pot, the parts that stuck and turned bitter with ash. On days when the food had been left too long and turned slightly sour, that's what Ada received. Sometimes she got the remnants of yesterday's meals that no one else wanted. On better days when Ngozi was in a good mood, Ada would get to eat normal food, but never with meat or fish, just the plain rice or yam. To supplement her meager meals, Ada would sometimes pluck udara fruit from the bush on her way to or from the stream, eating them quickly before returning home. Wild mangoes too, when they were in season. Udara remained kind and gentle. The villagers all knew her true character. They saw how she helped elderly women carry heavy loads at the market. They watched her steady stumbling children and speak softly to everyone she met. Her beauty, both inner and outer, shone through despite her suffering. Several young men from good families came to the house, hoping to court Ada. They would arrive with palm wine and kola nuts wrapped in leaves, asking to speak with her elders about making their intentions known. But Ngozi turned them all away. That girl is trouble, she would say, her voice dripping with false concern. Lazy, disobedient, she cannot cook, cannot clean properly. She is too proud, too difficult. You would do better to look elsewhere, my son. The young men would leave confused and disappointed, and Ada would watch from around the corner, silent tears rolling down her cheeks. Ngozi even spread rumors about her fellow gossips under the large iroko tree where the women gathered to weave baskets and grind pepper. Ada, I worry for her. She has become so difficult as she is grown older. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. She refused to walk, speaks back, disrespects her elders, but the women didn't fully believe her. They had known Ada since birth. They remembered her father's love for her and they saw through the lies. Still, the rumors did their damage, making some people whisper and wonder. Ngozi's real motivation was jealousy. Ada was more beautiful than Nkechi, kinder, more beloved by the villagers. Men wanted Ada, not Nkechi. And this ate at Ngozi like a cancer, fueling her cruelty and feeding a dark plan that was forming in her mind. One night, Ada lay on her tin mat, too exhausted to even change out of her wrapper. She pressed a hand to her stomach. She hadn't been feeling well all day. She whispered into the darkness, Mama, Papa, I'm trying to endure. I'm trying to be strong like you taught me, but I'm tired. A single tear escaped, trailing down to her mat. In the other room, Ngozi and Nkechi were whispering, planning something wicked. All the water drums smothered. Nkechi was giggling. All of them, Ngozi replied with a cruel smile. Pour them out. I want to see how much she can bear. The next morning, even earlier than usual, Ngozi shook Ada roughly. Get up. The water is gone, all of it. Ada sat up, groggily and confused. What? But I filled all the drums yesterday. Are you calling me a liar? Ngozi snapped. Get up. Go to the stream now. Ada struggled to rise, her movement slow and pained. Mama, Ngozi, I told you last night I'm not feeling well. Ngozi grabbed Ada's arm, had enough to bruise. Not feeling well? You lazy good for nothing child. Why you sleep comfortably? We have no water. No water to cook, to clean, to drink. But I feel the slap came hard and fast across Ada's face. Don't argue with me. Go. Ada's hand flew to her cheek. She blinked back tears, nodded and stumbled outside into the darkness. She made trip after trip to the stream. The calabash was so heavy and she was so weak from not eating properly and from being ill. The sky slowly lightened as she walked on the first trip. She struggled with the weight, nearly dropping the calabash. On the second trip, she had to stop and rest halfway home, settling the calabash down and breathing hard. On the third trip, her hands shook as she filled the calabash, water slushing over the sides. On the fourth trip, tears mixed with the sweat on her face, but she kept going. On the fifth trip, she could barely lift the calabash onto her head. Her whole body trembled. Finally, she poured the last calabash into the drum. She stood there swaying, exhausted beyond measure, hoping this ordeal was over. But then Ngozi emerged from the house, her face twisted in theatrical anger. What is this? What is this? She peered into the water drum, then recoiled dramatically. This water is filthy. Look at it, brown, cloudy. Are we animals that we should drink this? But the water was clear. I was careful. Ada's voice was breaking. Okay, that we should drink this. But the water was clear. I was careful. Ada's voice was breaking. Claire, Claire. You blind, stupid girl. Ngozi grabbed the calabash, scooped water from the drum and threw it on the ground. Go back. Go back to the stream and bring clean water. Are you trying to poison us? Ada's face crumbled. She picked up the calabash, her whole body trembling, and made the long journey back to the stream. This time, she filled the calabash even more carefully, checking the water repeatedly for any sediment. She made the journey back, praying silently that it would be good enough. But when she arrived home and poured the water, Ngozi screamed even louder. What is wrong with you? Are you stupid? Did your father never teach you anything? This water is even worse. Please, Mama Ngozi, I go back now. I don't return until you bring clean water. Nkechi watched from the doorway, smirking at Ada's misery. Ada returned to the stream, and for the third time, by now she was completely broken. As she knelt by the water, filling the calabash once more, she began to weep openly. Her tears fell into the stream, creating small ripples that caught the morning light. Why? She sobbed. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Suddenly, she felt a hand on her shoulder. She gasped, startled, and turned around. An old man stood behind her. His face was withered but kind, his eyes looking ancient wisdom. There was something both ordinary and extraordinary about him. He looked like an village elder, yet there was an otherworldly quality to his presence, as if he existed slightly outside of normal reality. Why do you cry while fetching water, child? He asked gently. I forgive me, uncle, Ada said, wiping her tears. I didn't know anyone else was here, usually at this hour. You are always alone. Yes, I have seen you. Many mornings, many times. He gestured to the water. Do you know what this stream is called? Ada shook her head. The river of happiness. Yet you bring sorrow to its banks. Ada's lip trembled. Something about this man's kindness broke the dam she's built around her pain. The words poured out, how her stepmother sent her back again and again, no matter how carefully she fetched the water, how nothing was ever good enough, how she worked endlessly, but was treated worse than a servant. I'm so tired, uncle, she whispered, so tired. The old man listened, his face full of understanding and compassion. And yet, you keep trying. Ada left out a bitter laugh. What choice do I have? If I don't, I'll have no food, no place to sleep. It's my father's house, but since he died, I'm less than a servant there. The old man knelt beside her, his old knees crackling. Let me help you. Together, they filled the calabash. The old man's movements were steady and practiced. When it was full, he lifted it effortlessly, despite his apparent age, and placed it on Ada's head. The water is clear, child, clearer than any you have brought today. Trust in that. Ada looked at him with surprise and gratitude. Thank you, uncle. May your kindness be rewarded. The old man smiled slightly. May yours be rewarded as well. He watched as she walked away, his expression unreadable. Ada approached the house carefully, moving slowly to keep the water steady. She was almost at the door when a figure stepped into her path. Nkechi stood there, arms crossed, a malicious glint in her eyes. Nkechi, please, I need to pass, Ada said quietly. Oh, you need to pass. How interesting. Nkechi didn't move. Sister, please, the water is heavy. I'm very tired. Sister, you are calling me sister. Nkechi stepped closer, her face ugly with spite. You are not my sister. You are just a burden my mother had to take on when she married your father. Please, just let me. Suddenly, Nkechi reached out and pushed Ada's shoulder, not hard enough to seem completely deliberate to an observer, but enough to throw off her already unstable balance. Ada stumbled, the calabash tilted. She tried to catch it, but it fell, shattering on the ground. Water splashed everywhere. Ada landed hard on her hands and knees among the broken pieces. No, 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 Ada whispered, devastated. Nkechi immediately threw herself down, grabbed a shard of the broken calabash. She made a small superficial cut on her own arm. Mother, mother, help! She screamed. Ada attacked me. She started crying loudly, dramatically. What? No, no, Nkechi, you pushed me. You. Ada scrambled up, horrified. She pushed me. She tried to hurt me with the calabash. Ngozi burst from the house, her face already set in righteous fury. What have you done? I didn't. She pushed me. She's lying, mother. Nkechi sobbed. I just asked her how the water fetching went. And she became angry. She said I was lazy, that I never walked. Then she pushed me and I fell on the broken calabash. She held up her bleeding arm. The cut was small but looked dramatic with all the blood. Ngozi slapped Ada across the face. Then again, you wicked, ungrateful child. After everything I've done for you, giving you a home, food, clothes, and this is how you repay me by attacking my daughter. Please. I didn't. Get out of my sight. Get out before I do something I'll regret. Ada fled, running from the house with tears streaming down her face. She ran through the village, her face swollen from the slaps, her wrapper torn from falling. Villagers stopped what they were doing, watching her pass with concern. That poor child, one man said to his neighbor. What has that woman done to her now? Someone should speak to the elders, a woman said, shaking her head. This has gone too far. But no one did. They whispered, they sympathized, but no one intervened. Ada found her way to a quiet spot under a large tree at the edge of the village. She collapsed, her body shaking with sobs. She stayed there for hours, watching the sun across the sky, unable to make herself return home. As the sun began to set, she slowly arose. She had nowhere else to go. She walked back to the house and went straight to her room, saying nothing to anyone. That night, Ngozi sat in her room with a small calabash of palm wine beside her. Her face was calculating, cold. Nkechi entered quietly. Mother, what are you thinking? I'm thinking that Ada has become a problem that needs a permanent solution, Ngozi said. We are going to send her away? Nkechi asked, excited. Something like that. Ngozi stood up and moved to the window in the distance. Dark trees marked the boundary of the evil forest. Do you know what day it is tomorrow? Nkechi thought for a moment. The 4th day of the market week. And the full moon, Ngozi said, smiling. Nkechi's eyes widened in understanding. The worst day for the evil forest, mother. You can't mean there's a flower that grows only in that forest. Very rare, very special. She turned to face Nkechi, and tomorrow, Ada will go fetch it for me.